Hey there, cartomancers. Tarot and Witchery here, and I wanted to talk books today. I have 5 books to discuss with you so that you can kind of work with your cards in a new way. I really like these books. I think they take the typical tarot book and go in a different direction with it. So I find them a little bit more invigorating for your practice. If you're new, I think a couple of these books are great places to start. The last 2 books are kind of unusual suspects that I want to share with you, and I think that you'll really enjoy them. So without further ado, here we go. All right, book number 1 is Talking with the Tarot by Samantha Rose Hicks. This was a really refreshing book for me. There's so many books that come out and they're just the same old sort of rote, this means this. But the subtitle of this is Conversations with Your 78 New Best Friends. And I found this book expansive. Like it really allowed me to look at my tarot practice in ways that make sense to me. Like I'm a person who really wants to dive into the cards in a conversational way. And that's exactly what this does. So let's flip the camera and see what this has to say. There are 219 pages in Samantha's book. You can see her on the back here, and I think the reason that this is such a great interactive book is that she's a coach and a witch. Let's see here, you've got 11 chapters. And so it kind of talks about the tarot structure for those of you that are needing some of that at the very beginning, just like really, really basic. And then it goes into each card. There's a little bit more, of course, for each major arcana. So what I really appreciate about these chapters is how they're laid out and how each aspect kind of takes you deeper into understanding the card in a fresh way. So you'll see there's 2 pages for each one of the major arcana, and it's going to start out with kind of like meeting the magician, kind of giving you an idea of what that persona is like, that archetype. These are archetypes. The major arcana are archetypes. And then there's something about talking with them, like having that conversation, what that conversation is going to feel like when you're interacting with this card in particular. So like in this one, it says, you will receive such advice as, so it'll talk about them being an advisor. In the Fool here, it'll say, when you are speaking with the Fool. And a lot of the cards will say that, like, here's how you know. These are like telltale signs. And this sort of keeps your mind going in the vein of this archetype when you're having those types of prompts. Then it has creating a personal connection. And so, like here she has a story. She doesn't always. And so like here for the High Priestess, what experience is coming up for you when you think about a time you heard your inner voice? So it kind of helps you to tap into your own story in some way and really make a personal connection. And if you are learning the tarot, you're going to find that the more personal connection that you have with the different cards and archetypes, the more you're going to remember them. And then it's got reversed prompt questions here. Okay, and then we go back here to the minor arcana, and you'll see that they kind of run through. They don't necessarily have 2 pages. It's probably like a page and a half for each one. So I happened to open up to a court card. So for those of you who struggle with the court cards, you might find this book something that is worth diving into because of the types of prompts that she gives you to connect with the court cards. So Knight of Swords here, I'll just go ahead and read a little bit. Riding with relentless determination, the Knight of Swords charges forward. As you can see, someone needs to tell the Knight of Swords there is no fire and they can calm down. You are meeting the knight right as they are racing towards their next quest. The wind behind them blows not only the trees, but also the clouds above, showing you how quickly the knight's mind is racing at this very moment. Their horse rushes forward as the knight raises their sword of powerful intellect towards the heavens, allowing the clarity of their mission to be divinely guided. The Knight of Swords is determined and doesn't allow the mountain of challenge the mountain of challenges to break his focus. And then it talks a little about the persona, having a conversation, creating that personal connection, and then prompts. If you've watched my channel at all, you know that I believe that these cards are actually hooked up to the collective consciousness, that so many of us have dove into these archetypes and these cards for so long, the tarot in particular, that we have this collective consciousness to draw on, this body of knowledge, this body of wisdom, and the many minds that have collaborated over the years to bring forth the tarot and to work with it. So, Talking with the Tarot by Samantha Rose Hicks, really nice book. Next up on my list is from Drea Bloom, Tarot for the Soul. And this says a collection of therapeutic activities. Look at this chunky book. If you are not familiar with Tarot for Transformation, that's the other book that she wrote that's similar to this. This just takes it in a little bit different of a direction. It moves it more into a therapeutic scene. So especially if you are a professional reader, if you are a counselor, a coach, I think you will find this book really fantastic. But if you are not, using these exercises in here to work with the cards in ways that are actually, there's a lot of somatic exercises in this book. So again, taking it into the body, like ways of actually physically working with them. There's some really cool prompts in here. In one of them, after looking at an aspect of self, because it goes through looking at different aspects of the self and how to approach them therapeutically with the cards. She then has you get up and put the cards around the room, like hide them, like you're removing them from your consciousness. So there are actual actions that you take when using this book to work through the card and actually bring it into your body, bring it into your consciousness, and work with it in a deeply therapeutic way. Let's take a look. Many of you ask about this reading cloth. This is from the Spellbound Society's mystery box. And if you are into really cool witchy mystery boxes with stuff that's highly usable, you should check out her site, Spellbound Society, and this is their mystery box. So, I mean, this is so big. Okay, let's go back here because we'll go back to the beginning of a chapter. So we have the heroine's journey. So, we'll move through the heroine's journey. They move through talking. Drea will speak about the heroine's journey. Collaboration and community play a central role in the heroine's journey, emphasizing the importance of relationship and collective healing over solitary achievement. The heroine's growth is not only transformative for herself, but also serves as a catalyst for those around her as her journey inspires others to embrace their own complexities. That's just like a small piece. But I find these are really good. It's a bit Jungian, if you like Jungian psychology. So it's all about the journey itself. So it has every stage of the heroine's journey. Next, she'll take you through other aspects of this journey and looking at it. Someone who's trying to understand your story and really move through it in a way where you can work with the cards that bring you into the depths of your soul and really get to a place of healing. You'll find that each one of these chapters is just jam-packed. So then it moves into an activity. And the questions are amazing. What have you always believed to be true is 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6. What coping mechanisms or strategies have you developed to maintain these beliefs, even though in your heart of hearts you understood that those beliefs are illusionary? These are just huge building blocks that help you bring yourself into really understanding the myths of yourself and the ways in which you can navigate your own story to get to the root of who you really are, as opposed to the things that have been transposed on top of you. Believe me when I say, if you are looking for a book that is going to take you deep into your healing, that's going to give you, you're going to be able to find the exercise that you need to really look at your issues and what you're trying to clear yourself of. Your shadow work, your healing, just your ability to embrace your now, your story, who you are in a more empowered and sovereign way. I just love this book. I've just been kind of perusing it on camping trips. Tarot for the Soul by Drea Bloom. Fabulous book. Next up on the list is Jack Chanek's new book. I am actually a Jack Chanek fan. This is where we start crossing over a little bit from tarot into the magic, which I'm going to cover this in depth on my magic channel, the Natural Witchery. Tarot for the Magically Inclined. Another really refreshing book out there. There are books out there about like spells with tarot, which I like, but this is a little different. This is taking tarot and really internalizing it and allowing your tarot practice to really move into the magical realm. And it's interesting because he goes into defining magic. It'd be interesting for if anyone down below wants to put their definition of magic. This is something that I toss around all the time. But off the cuff, the ability to influence our reality by the application of our own personal energies. And so you're using tarot in that way to influence your reality. It says here, spells and spirits to stack the deck in your favor. So this is a Llewellyn book. So I wanted to just come in here and say there's two parts to this whole thing. The first one is magical worldview. So you get this huge amount of moving through magic. And I think he's a Gardnerian Wiccan. So that's going to color his perspective as well as from a magical perspective. But, he goes through what is magic, which is a really fun chapter to read. He goes through the elements. He goes through the zodiac. And let me tell you, if you are looking for, there's the elements in the suits, and then it goes into in depth, kind of looking at that and feeling that. Elemental court cards, which is really cool. So you can take the court to another level. Into the zodiac. I appreciated his zodiac chapter a lot. And he goes through the different cards and the zodiac signs that they are associated with. There's a little quick list here if you're not sure. So predicting timing. So talking about timing is huge in magic. There's some great little tables here for you. And here, triplicity, let me just put this over here. Triplicity, modality, and the minor arcana. The signs of the zodiac don't exist in isolation. They're part of a cohesive, unified system, and each sign connects to the others in ways that add depth and meaning to its symbolism. Astrologers use a number of techniques to connect the signs to each other, but two of those techniques in particular will be important for us to understand tarot through the astrological lens. Those techniques are known as triplicity and modality. And so it goes into that. So but it's in layman's terms, you're going to be able to get it. So if you're not an astrologer, but you've been wanting to kind of connect a little bit more with that, or you dabble, you're going to get this basic bit here. And it's a lot of fun. Zodiacal court cards. So it goes into the court cards and where they are in the zodiac. Again, I feel like it's really fun to be able to take these new ways of looking at the court cards into putting them in your quiver to kind of shoot at whatever it is you're working with, because I think the court cards are something that sort of mystify a lot of us. So getting as many angles on that is great. Tarot for your birth chart. There are definitely there's some fun spreads in here. You've got planets in the minor arcana, so these, and then you've got Kabbalah. So there's the Tree of Life. I feel like he's done a great job of breaking that down into bite-sized pieces that you can actually digest. And then we go into tarot and magic and pathworking and meditation. So what you are not getting here, let me talk about what you are not getting in this book. This is not wrote, the king means this, the knight means that. You're not getting that. To me, the craft is there for me to engage with the natural world and bring the macrocosm into the microcosm of myself. And when I make that connection between the outer world and the inner world, I become empowered to mesh those two like in a liminal space, and magic is a liminal space, in order to shift my reality or more greatly embody the reality that is maybe on the inner world or the outer world. While Drea's book is about clearing energies, healing energies, embracing energies, this is about your sovereignty, understanding your sovereignty, taking that to the tarot and allowing yourself to shift your reality through these magical concepts that embrace the tarot and that connection to that. So I know that was a mouthful. This is a fabulous book. This is not fluff. This book is a treasure trove. This one's going to stay in my library. Writing tarot spells. So if you're into that, and it's got some specific, like making a decision, the Two of Swords. And so it talks about working with this card magically, like actually doing it. It does have some beautiful incantations. Again, so as we progress in these books, we're going to get deeper and deeper into the tarot and what you can do with it. You're going to grow deeper in your practice and your understanding of the cards by diving into something that is not just about rote divination. This is about magic. So Jack Chanek's Tarot for the Magically Inclined. I was really excited to see this book come out, and I totally recommend this. I'm going to cover this in my fall video of our natural witchery as well. Okay, now I've got 2 books left that I want to discuss, and they kind of take the tarot in a different direction. So the 4th book that I want to recommend is the book that you have that comes with your deck. And I just want to recommend using it in a different way. I've mentioned this in another video, but if you have a deck that is maybe difficult for you to connect with and it comes with a book, then take that book, the difficult deck, and take your favorite deck that is really easy for you to work with and read the cards, but use the book that's difficult and see what happens. Or any book. I mean, you could just say, hey, I have this fall deck, but I've been wanting to learn more about this one. By mixing, you're going to see such an interesting train of thought that comes out. Getting the author's take on a card by using a deck that you are familiar with, you're going to make different connections. And when you go back to working with that deck that's a little bit more difficult for you, I think you'll find that you've now grooved something that you can grab a hold of, because sometimes we shy away from that deck, so we just don't pick it up. And we never quite dive into it because we feel like the only way to do that is with the book and the deck, and it's just too overwhelming. Likewise, you can switch that, right? You can use the deck that is difficult for you, use the cards themselves, and the book from the deck that you totally click with like that. All right, last but not least is A Witch's Crystal Brews. And I covered this in another thing on natural witchery. But the reason why I'm choosing this is because you can use your cards in crystal grids. And I think that getting involved with our cards in a more ceremonial way, such as like a tea ceremony. Oh, by the way, this book is by S.M. Harlow. It's a lovely little book, and it's got this great little ribbon. And so in here, the idea behind this is you're working with crystal magic, and you're working with crystal grids, but you're also working with tea. So the idea is that you're ceremonially creating teas, getting very intentional with bringing yourself into your consciousness, working with different gemstones, and then even creating your own brews, crystal grids, the different types of stones. So to me, if you want to take your tarot to another level, I think ceremony is where it's at, is to do something like this, where you are consciously building a grid for a purpose, and she gives you all different purposes in here. Creating a tea, which is ceremony in itself, and then choosing a card to work with. Or maybe you do that in reverse. Maybe you choose a card that you want to work with, and you say, this is what I'm trying to do. Like, I need the energy of the magician in my life right now. I really need that. Or I need to remove that energy. And then go here and find something that makes sense to you to work with. Maybe it's a tea blend, and you just work with the tea blend, and you have that out. You can even charge your crystal grid with your card and the crystals. You could build your crystal grid around your card. I think this just takes your practice to a new level and lets you engage with the cards in a way that kind of takes you out of the mind a little bit and back into the body. And I think that's a really important aspect of reading that we don't talk about. We don't talk about how to take the cards and get into our body with them. We tend to kind of hang out in this like, oh, it's just all about flipping a card and looking at the card and going into our mind and figuring it out. But the more that you get into your body, the more somatic you get with your practice, the more you're going to actually move into more of a seership realm instead of like just rote memorization. Especially for those of you who are new to tarot and feel overwhelmed, the idea of like having a cup of tea and creating a little ritual around it to kind of center yourself and get grounded can really bring you into a place of being able to relax and enjoy what you're doing and trust your body a little bit more, because when working with the cards, there is a lot to working with body sensations and even smells. There are just all different types of clairaudience, clairsentience. There's all different types of clairs that we work with. And the more multidimensional you can get with your tarot reading, I think the greater your messages are and the more that they actually become something that changes you. Because why the heck do you read cards if you don't plan on doing anything with the information? That's definitely a soapbox for me. Don't draw another card until you've figured out the last card and done what you needed to do. Otherwise, believe me, that you will get to where your readings are like a hollow drum. They just have no resonance because you're not listening to your guides. And the cards are guides. They are guides. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you've checked out some of these books. If you made it to the end, leave me a book emoji down below in the comments and tell me what books you like for connecting with the tarot in new and fascinating ways. But also let me know if you plan on getting any of these books. And you will find links down below to all the books I mentioned in this video. Until we meet again, may you find a way to connect with your cards that offers you a fresh perspective on yourself and brings you into your body more to be the person that you know you are.